This tutorial video on financial reporting has been produced by the Lutheran World Federation. In order to fill in the financial format, you will need the annual work plan and budget for the project, the 3-year budget approved by the LWF, and the financial report of the previous reporting period. Throughout a project, budget control on both the receipts and expenditure will play a prominent role and, as a result, requires strict monitoring. To help you keep track and report your financial information, we've produced this tutorial video. It will assist you in correctly completing and returning your financial reports. Similar to the narrative reports, the financial reports shall be produced twice annually, according to the calendar year of January the 1st through to December the 31st. One semester is 6 months. Let's take a look at the financial reporting form. The form comes in 3 parts. Sheet 1, budgeted and actual expenditure for 1 semester. This is what you've budgeted and how much you've really spent in the period under review, meaning the last 6 months only. Sheet 2, budgeted and actual expenditure for accumulated period, meaning what you've budgeted and how much you've really spent since the start of the project. And Sheet 3, budgeted and actual income, or receipts to calculate the project balance. The annual budget is broken down into 2 6-month periods. It must be based on the confirmed LWF yearly contribution, which is communicated to you at the beginning of each year. Let's take a closer look at Sheet 1, the budgeted and actual expenditure in the period under review. This table is used to report on the previous 6 months only. It's split into 5 columns. To fill in this table, you first need to look at the approved budget. 1. The budget headings. Follow accurately the full sequence of approved budget items, regardless of whether expenditure has been made or not. Please number each item according to the numbering of the approved budget. 2. Total project budget. This is the approved budget for the entire 3-year project, not just the previous 6 months. 3. Budget for these 6 months. Be sure to add only the agreed budget for this reporting period, not for the full year. 4. The actual expenditure. And 5. The realization in percentage. This is the percentage of budget that has actually been spent. This row should be filled automatically based on the provided information. The table is also split into 5 rows. It follows the approved budget structure. At this stage, it's important to check that your totals and subtotals add up correctly, because sometimes the table formulas may not be functioning correctly. Sheet 2, budget and actual expenditure for accumulated period. This sheet holds the information on budget and expenditure from the beginning of the 3-year project phase until the final day of this reporting period. This means the information covers all of the previous reporting periods. For example, if your project lasts for 3 years, there will be 6 reporting periods in total, 5 of which will require accumulated information, period 2 to 6. This sheet looks very similar to sheet number 1. And some of the figures are the same, for example, the total project budget. The difference is that the provided figures will include the budget and the actual expenditure so far. 1. The budget headings are the same as sheet number 1. Follow accurately the full sequence of approved budget items, regardless of whether expenditure has been made or not. Please number each item. 2. The total project budget will be the same as on sheet 1. 3. Budget for accumulated period. This will combine all budget figures of previous reporting periods in your records. If, for example, you are in your second reporting period from July to December, you will include the total combined budget figure from January to December reporting periods 1 and 2. If you were reporting period 3, you would include the combined budget from periods 1, 2 and 3. 4. Actual expenditure for accumulated period. This column is for how much you have actually spent during all accumulated periods to date. For example, if you are in the third reporting period, you would add up the total actual expenditures from reporting periods 1, 2 and 3. You will obtain the correct figures by adding the actual expenditure for the 6 months of the present reporting period to the accumulated figures from the last financial report. 5. Realisation in percentage. Here, the total percentage of your expenditure against the accumulated budget will show up automatically. So far, we've discussed Sheets 1 and 2, which deal with expenditures. Now let's move on to Sheet 3, which deals with the budget and actual income. Sheet 3 is divided into 2 parts. On the left, we have the information for the current 6-month reporting period only. On the right, it displays the accumulated totals for all reporting periods to date. Let's take a closer look. First, look at the right-hand side. The opening balance for the accumulated period. If your project is in its first phase, the opening balance should be 0. If we take a look on the left-hand side, you will find the opening balance for the current reporting period. It's carried forward from the previous 6 months. 2. Receipts. Here, you compare the expected income for the whole project, the expected income for the current reporting period, and the actual income received. In the reporting period section, please indicate the income budgeted from the LWF, third parties, and your own planned contribution for the whole 3 years. For the accumulated period, please indicate the income budgeted for the accumulated period and for the actual income received. To get these figures, you will have to go to the previous financial report. The total receipts is the sum of the income received from LWF, third parties, and your own contribution. The same applies for the accumulated section. Three. Interest received. Indicate any interest received on project income. For example, bank interest. You will get this information from your bank. 4. Subtotal. This will be the sum total of the opening balance, the total actual receipts, and any interest received. 5. Actual expenditure. This is the same as the actual expenditure indicated on Sheet 1 for the current reporting period only. On the right, the figure is the same as the actual accumulated expenditure on Sheet number 2. 6. Balance as per. This is the money that you have left over after the expenditure of this reporting period in question. Please remember to indicate the date for the closing balance. Also, provide a breakdown of the balance, in bank and in cash. Indicate whether there are any amounts receivable. For example, whether there are outstanding payments owed to the project. And also payable, if, for example, the project still owes some money to someone. Now that you've completed your forms, we'd like you to verify that the information is correct. There are some simple steps to see whether the financial report is filled in correctly. 1. On sheet 3, the balance as per the reporting date for the current reporting period on the left and the accumulated project periods on the right should be the same. 2. Make sure that the opening balance on the top of the left-hand side of sheet 3 corresponds exactly to the closing balance of the previous financial report. 3. If you add the accumulated budget and expenditure figures from sheet 2 of the previous financial report to the 6-month budget and expenditure figures on sheet 1 of the current financial report, the outcome should correspond exactly to the accumulated budget and expenditure figures on sheet 2 of the current financial report. 4. Check whether the income from LWF stated on sheet 3 corresponds exactly to the amounts indicated on the receipt forms for each transfer. Thank you for watching this tutorial. We hope that it's helped to make the process simple. However, if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact us.